before I knew who I was, before I knew words like identity, coherence, freedom, sovereignty, I knew this. And this is the first time that I truly belonged. I remember the first time I sat on a horse. I was 5 years old. And I was walking through the stables with my mum. And I could smell the unique smell of the horses, the straw, the leather, and the shit as well. I loved it. And then I was introduced to the pony that I was going to ride. His name was Saturn, or Saturn if you're French, because that's where I was. I was in a small town of France. That's where I'm from. And I stood next to him, and I looked into his eyes, and my body just exhaled. And I didn't really know what it was then, but now I know that that feeling was the feeling of being home. And then we walked to the arena, and I hopped on. I grabbed the reins in front of me, in my hands, and they felt like an extension of my arms. Started walking, and I could feel every movement underneath my seat, and it felt like a conversation. His legs felt like my legs. I couldn't stop smiling that my cheek hurt by the end of the lesson. And I knew in that moment that my heart cracked open, and I never wanted to give that away. I wanted more. And so I went for it. I kept chasing more. And I started by 8 years old. I was competing at the French National Championship, and I did so every year after that. By 15, I was competing in the highest level possible in show jumping. I was part of the French national team. I was competing internationally by that stage. I took it to Dubai, flew my horse over there to compete, to coach, and I eventually came to Australia and I opened my horse riding school. But all of that sounds really great. It wasn't all that great. There was also the moments of waking up at 6 a.m. and having to go and feed the horses before going to school. And then afterwards, at night, having to muck out the stables. There was the falls. There were many of them. I don't think I've not injured one part of my body. I think it's all been somehow injured. But I would never give that away. I would do it all over again. And if there's that one moment that could summarize my whole relationship with the horses that I've established over the years, would be this one moment where I was 21 years old, and it was the first time that I did something for myself without the horses. And I went traveling America for 2 months. It was the first time in over 15 years that I'd been away from horses that long, 2 months. It felt like it was an eternity, but I really needed to do that for myself. I had my horse at the time. I went to say goodbye to her, and she knew that I was leaving. I felt heavy and I felt sad. I've spent every day with her, and she would not let me go. She was in the paddock at the time. I went and give her a hug, and when I was leaving, I had tears rolling down my eyes and my heart felt really heavy. I was leaving a part of me behind. Only for 2 months, but still. And as I walked away, she grabbed my shirt or my jacket because it was winter. And she just would not let me go. She kept walking in front of me so I couldn't get out of the paddock. And she made it really hard for me to leave. But she knew that I was walking away and I could not tell her that I was coming back in 2 months. That's the kind of relationship that I established with my horse and my horses in general. But this one was a particular bond. And when I came back 2 months later, I just barely even walked in the stable and I said hello to someone. She heard my voice and she started like calling me out. She started banging on the door of the stable and like she got super excited. I got into the stable and she ran, like launches herself into me, put her head over my shoulder and she pulls me in. And that was her way of hugging me. I just went around her and I stayed there for so long and I was home again. These moments are so beautiful to me because these moments I belonged exactly as who I was. Growing up was a bit rough. I knew I was different, but I didn't know at the time that I was transgender. I just knew I was different. And that led me to a lot of pain and suffering. But with the horses, they never cared who I was, how I was showing up, what my pronouns are. They don't care. As long as I was showing with my heart open and true, they received me and they gave me everything that they had. And so outside of that, I was trying so hard to fit in, to be like everybody else because I should do this, I should act like that. The world had opinions about who I should be. The horses didn't. And you might not have had horses growing up in your life, but you might be able to remember a time, a place, someone, an animal where you felt that sense of belonging, you felt that sense of freedom of you can be yourself, who you are fully, without the fear, where you felt safe. That was mine. Thank you.